What a privilege and a pleasure to come and to participate in the residue of such a great passage. And I wanted to just pause and to say thank you to Pastor Hunter for being faithful to what your bishop and your pastor left behind. That's very, very big of you. Small preachers will try to erase what he's done. Will try to build on their own what they call legacy. But it is very big of this pastor to still honor your bishop and your pastor. You have a great pastor. In the world of preaching, you have all kind of preachers. You have expository preachers. You have narrative preachers. You have extemporaneous preachers, and you have spontaneous preachers. And all of these different styles of preaching are in the arena of the laws and principles of hermeneutics. I want to honor Pastor Humphrey. He was an unusually gifted. He took two of those 5 titles and he mastered them. An expository preacher is he who looks into a text and can extract and can unpack a text. An extemporaneous preacher is who can see a dog chasing a cat outside of church and come up in church and preach on the dog chase the cat. If anybody could preach on a dog chase the cat and can make sense of it, it was the former pastor of this church. Not only was he an extemporaneous preacher, but he was the greatest topical preacher that Oakland has ever seen. And it is so hard to separate him and his preaching from his style of preaching. Most preachers got caught up with that Chicago swag that he brought here. But if you look at the content of what he said and his ability to connect with people, his preaching from his style is antithetical to each other. You would think that a preacher could relate to people the way that he did. Now, let me say this, and I don't mean to offend anybody. One of the greatest things that he did, and he was first at doing it. You don't want to talk about this, but I'm going to mention it. He took the veil off of a certain group of people who we segregated in church. We have the tendency and we have the propensity to take a group of people and we push them to the side. And anybody who is antithetical to us, anybody who is contradistinct to who we are, we tend to point the finger at them because they could be caught up in the only sin that we're not guilty of. And so there was a whole group of people who had been exiled in the name of Jesus Christ because of their tendencies, because of their sexual proclivities. We outcast them, and somehow, I don't know how he did it, but somehow he was able to be true to his exegesis, to how he dealt with a text, and at the same time embrace people who haven't felt the love of God because we had sent them to hell. And it was Gordon Humphrey who reminded us that the love of God, you can shout all you want to, but if you don't love that person you're sitting next to, the Lord say that you are a liar. Because there is only one sign in the Bible that proves that you are a child of God. I know that you Pentecostal can't take this because it doesn't have nothing to do with speaking in tongues. It has nothing to do with how you play counterpoint music with an atypical harmony. It has nothing to do with that. But the Lord said that there's only one way that you know that you are a child of God. You can sweat that suit out, but that ain't no sign. You can pastor a church that is huge, but that's not no sign. You can sing your part, but that's not your sign. Jesus said the only way that you know that you are my disciples is that you love each other. That's what he said. And this is the greatness of Gordon Humphrey. How he took people who were a victim of the last, the least, the left out, the lonely, the battered, the blistered, the bruised. How he took them people and he told them people that if you need a place to shout, you come right here and you shout. Regardless of what you look like, regardless of your shoes, if you feel uncomfortable at that church because you don't have a suit, it was Gordon Humphrey was the first one that said you can come here in jeans, sandals, in tennis shoes, whatever you have. If you can't afford Nordstrom, you can go to Walmart, but come in here and give God some praise. Honor this pastor. You have to honor this pastor. You have to continue his legacy because he opened up the floodgates so that some people who would never hear the gospel of Jesus Christ are now in church hearing the gospel of Jesus Christ because Gordon Humphrey opened up that gate and then he preached, put a chain on it. No more. Let them come. Let your hollow masses come. Let those who have been rejected come. And he invited you here, and we thank God and praise God for the legacy of Gordon Humphrey.